Welcome, everyone, to the Business Spotlight, the podcast where we shine a light on the incredible entrepreneurs and business leaders in our community. I'm your host, Craig Whipperman with Music City Action Coach, and today we're excited to introduce to you someone who is blazing a trail in the field of marketing here in Nashville, actually in Franklin. Our guest today is Kari Brown with ABH Connect. She's actually the founder of ABH Connect. We'll dive into Kari's background, explore the challenges she's faced, and the successes she has celebrated. Whether you're a fellow entrepreneur, an aspiring business owner, or someone who simply loves to support local business, this conversation is sure to inspire and inform. So without further ado, let's welcome Kari to the podcast. Kari, how you doing today?
Hey, Craig, I'm great. Thank you
Great.
for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, good to see you again.
You too.
Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you're at?
So, like you said, my name is Kari Brown. I am the founder, CEO of ABH Connect, located in Franklin, Tennessee. I have a 20-something year, I won't necessarily age myself, but I have a 20-something year background in marketing. I came to Franklin 25 years ago and just fell in love with this area. And I came to work in the music industry. I worked for a record label. That was my first gig. Did marketing management and worked with some really cool artists. Katy Perry was one of the artists that I worked with. So I kind of came out of the gate, with a really cool gig. Transitioned my career multiple times in the event space, production space, marketing. And then about 13 years ago, I began the digital marketing journey, learning I could about digital marketing, which was brand new at the time, which included Facebook and, emails and those kinds of things and websites. So that's kind of how my journey has evolved over the years. And but I love what I do.
That's fantastic. So, um, transitioned into was it event management? Is that right?
Yes, I did. I managed some conferences and did some event production, which basically meant that I coordinated everything and kind of put together the production and then was behind the scenes during conferences and marketed it and, kind of everything from soup to nuts on uh, putting together conferences.
Yeah, okay. That event managers don't get enough credit if you ask me, because I think that's a pretty big job, you know?
Yeah. I'm very happy that I don't really do that much anymore. But that we will do that for our clients if they need us to. We will put together events for them. We try to be full service. So we will still do that. And I still enjoy doing it every once in a while.
All right. So you've owned ABH Connect now for 20 something years, is that right?
No.
Did I miss
6 years. We're having
six?
our
Only
6 year
six.
anniversary.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah,
So,
6 years in April, I believe.
so what prompted you? And you say you had to learn the digital marketing piece at that time. Is that right?
Yeah, so 12, 13 years ago, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next in my career journey.
Mhm.
And I had, had a few kids and I had done the event management space, like you said, and, kind of wanted to see what the next steps were for me. And a friend of mine reached out and she asked me, "Hey, would you be interested in managing my social media?" And I thought, okay, because she was a real estate agent and she knew that, Facebook was the future of marketing. She kind of got on board with that early. And so I said, absolutely. And I fell in love with digital marketing. And one thing led to another, and I started getting more referrals. And before I knew it, I had quite a bit of customers, had my own first little, marketing agency. So that's kind of how I got started. And at that time, I just learned as I went and learned all about the foundations of SEO, the foundations of online advertising. And as those channels started to evolve, I had to keep up with them. And so that was about 13 years ago. I started an agency called Social Marmalade with a business partner about 12 years ago.
Hmm.
And we worked with some really great businesses in the Franklin area. And by that time, we kind of knew what we were doing, and everybody kind of knew what they were doing in the digital marketing space. And yeah, worked with some great agencies. And then probably around 2015-ish, I went through a life change that was pretty significant, and I knew I had to do something else. Like I loved my business and I loved my business partner, but I knew it was time to make more revenue. And so I did we in a series of events, Social Marmalade was purchased by a web design firm in Brentwood, and we went to work with them, and I became the VP of digital marketing. They did mostly web design at that time, but they really wanted to enter the digital marketing space. So it was just a great situation for all of us. So I ran their digital marketing division and worked with some really great clients and really got to level up my marketing game. I started working with, I mostly worked with small businesses before, and then I got to start working with some enterprise level, larger businesses, working on different projects that I hadn't worked on before. And soon found myself with a department and a team. And so really, really learned so much there while I was at that agency. And then in 2019, I got the bug to start my own business again. I think I just have this entrepreneur inside of me somewhere, and I just went for it, and I decided I could do it on my own again, and I did. 2019, I started out with just a handful of clients, and have pretty much tripled my revenue since then. So, and what's interesting is that happened right before COVID. I
Mhm.
quit my job and started a business right before COVID, but my clients during that time were amazing. They knew that they had to double down on their marketing during COVID. And so they did. And it went great. They, they really kept their marketing going, and even some of them even made it stronger during that time so that, they could continue to drive growth. And so that was a very interesting time in my business history, but
Yeah,
it we made it through.
I'm sure it was. It was an interesting time for everyone. But especially, uh, marketing, I think, because I don't know, a lot of people, that's the first thing that goes when everybody wants to cut back, is like, oh, we'll just cut the
Exactly.
salespeople, we'll cut the marketing people, and we'll just survive, and which is really the dumbest thing to do.
Yep.
But you had some pretty smart clients, it sounded like.
Yep. They were pretty
Um,
amazing.
so that's pretty cool that you had a friend who just asked you to manage her Facebook, and you were enamored with that. That ended up in marmalade, social marmalade.
Social Marmalade.
Interesting.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where that
We
got.
officed out of the factory of Franklin. The factory was one of our
Oh,
clients.
oh, wow.
And yeah, we got to do a lot of cool projects there. And we worked with O'More College of Design during that time and even got to teach some of the marketing classes. So it was a
Wow.
really fun time for our business.
And then they got bought. Then you got
Yes.
bought. And
Yeah.
you had to go back to was that a corporate role that you did?
Pretty much, kind
Yeah.
of. It was still pretty laid back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's kind of it was a cool agency. A lot of the people that I worked with were creative people and, musicians and designers and all kinds of artists. And so it was a very, very cool experience.
Yeah.
And
So,
we had great clients. So they did hosting, web hosting and websites. And so our goal was to, increase, kind of go to their clients that were, uh, doing the hosting thing and say, hey, you need to start marketing your business, digital marketing. So that's what we did. And a lot of the clients, bought into it and saw some success from it.
mhm,
And the reason I left, one of the reasons why I left the agency and started my own business again is because I saw an opportunity. There were clients all over the place at that agency, just like there are at most agencies around the city, smaller businesses, larger businesses. I saw an opportunity to work specifically with small businesses and that there was a need there, and if I could figure out how to make it happen financially, that's what I was passionate about, and that's what I really, really wanted to focus my energy on. And so that's kind of what led to me starting my own business.
okay, cool. Yeah, I was going to ask you what made you take the jump. It was you just saw the opportunity to kind of hone in on small business rather than be serving the whole gamut of businesses, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I saw a need for smart marketing solutions and marketing strategies for small businesses that couldn't necessarily afford to hire a really nice Nashville agency.
Hmm.
That there was a need there, and I felt like I could fill that need and help
Awesome. So, how are you finding clients? How do
them.
you market yourself? How does a marketing firm market itself?
That's a funny question. I Word of mouth, really.
Mhm.
And just getting out there and telling our story. My husband helps me develop business, and he helps me with all kinds of things. But we get out as he tries to get me out as much as possible. I would, I have to remember to work on my business and not just in my business. And
Mhm.
so getting out is such a good thing for me. Getting to networking events, speaking events, all kinds, anywhere we can go and tell our story.
Mhm.
Usually we are received well and, get meetings and appointments and things like that.
Right, right. And so, who is it just you, or do you have a staff, or how big is ABH?
So we try to stay lean so we can stay affordable for our clients. And so I have met quite a few contractors and freelancers in the area and built a kind of a bench of marketing professionals who are primarily contractors and freelancers. A lot of them have, day jobs, but
Mhm.
want to make a little side money. So we've built up a pretty good team of, I would say, 10 to 15 contractors that we can go to anytime we need something. So we have a digital ad person, a PPC person, who does Google AdWords for us. We have a content creator who is amazing. We have a graphic designer. We have several website people that can help on various levels of websites, a full stack developer, you name it. We have PR. Now, all that being said, I love doing all of that. Not all of that, but I love doing as much as I can. Like I love creating content. I love doing the PR side. But I know that, as the CEO of my company, I have to kind of delegate a lot of that responsibility. So thankfully, there are lots of wonderful contractors, marketing experts in this area that we reach out to, and then they help us get the job done for our clients.
Fantastic. So, if I came to you how would we enter into an engagement? How does it work? What's the process engaging with
I
BBH?
I always like to create, listen to what your needs are and listen to what your goals are. And then from there, create a strategy, create a plan. We always like to have some structure in place for what we're going to do so that you know what we're doing for you. And it's all kind of upfront contract. And I based on your budget, decide kind of which channels would be most beneficial. So smart marketing, right? I try to take your dollars and spend them strategically.
Mhm.
Um, Whether that be, social media or, trade shows or we online and offline, whatever you need us to do. Now, a lot of times a company will come to us and CEO will have the idea of what they want to do with their marketing. They may have come from a marketing background. And so, or they'll have a marketing director or a sales director or sales manager, and they want to lead the strategy and they know what they need. They just need somebody to do it. That's another way we engage with our clients is just getting the work done, whatever they need. We had one client that we were doing Google ads for, email marketing, we were doing their events, all of their trade show events. We were doing pretty much everything online and offline. They just needed to outsource, they needed a team we had the team and they had the vision and we made it happen.
Hmm. So when you say manage their events, to what extent of their event management did you do?
Whatever they need. I'll give you
Oh,
an
wow.
example of a
Okay.
fun project that we worked on last year. Um, had this client who wanted to take their client on a really cool trip, and it had to be between Dallas and Amarillo. And somewhere along the line, but he had this whole vision. There was a conference in Dallas, and then there was a vendor in Amarillo that they wanted to meet. So I booked their flights into Dallas, booked their flights out of Amarillo, rented a car. I booked a hog hunt for them along the way at a really cool hog hunt resort place in the middle of nowhere in Texas. I mean, that's just one example of what we do. We do a lot of trade show coordination, trade show booth, and all that goes into like the banking associations and other association trade shows. We set up dinners. I set up a dinner I've set up dinners all around the country for our customers. So it's we know events and we know corporate events specifically.
Yeah, awesome. So to what extent were you hands-on in the middle of the event management, or do you have someone that you outsource that to?
That's a good question. I do a lot of it, but I do have someone who does like the small details because there's so many details when it comes to event management. And so I try to pass along, I'll do the higher levels, strategy and planning of the event, and then have someone help me kind of make it all happen.
Yeah. So you're targeting small businesses.
Mhm.
What would you say the revenue range is for the businesses you do support?
I would say our sweet spot really is 1 million to 50 million.
Okay.
That's kind of what I consider, small biz, and so that means they usually don't have a marketing department.
Hmm.
If they have, between 1 and 50 million in revenue, generally the clients that we've worked with, and even startups, who have some funding, um, but maybe are not at the $1 million revenue point yet. Definitely, open to working with those clients as well.
Fantastic. So let's see, you've been in business 6 years now. and you've got primarily 1099 type outsourced to to kind of experts, freelancers in the field. What's your biggest piece of overhead that you experience? Is it, I mean, it sounds like you've pretty streamlined cost wise.
Yep, yep. We couple of things like our contractors, we pay our contractors well, market value, whatever that is. So that's probably our biggest overhead. And technology. I mean, we use technology, and that we're smart. We're led by people, but fueled by technology. So, a lot of that technology we invest in, so that, our clients get the best experience possible.
Right. So, do you get involved in like targeting a certain profile or persona for your client?
Yeah,
I mean, so like, I don't know, white between 20 and 25 and single and likes to play sports, all of those types of things, and you kind of target that. I-
absolutely.
How,
We
how
are
do you?
very strategic about, we want to spend their money wisely. So
Mhm,
targeting is crucial. We don't want to waste any of their advertising dollars,
mhm,
right? So targeting is crucial. And that's why on the front end, as you asked before, where do we begin? We begin with a strategy. And that
mhm,
strategy includes who, are you targeting? Um, we put together those avatars, like you said,
mhm,
and just make sure that we know exactly who your customer is, and where we know where they are once we learn who they are.
mhm. Yeah, great. And so the strategy would it be a variety of things? It would be a Facebook type of campaign, a LinkedIn type of campaign, and then we'll also include an email marketing type of campaign. I mean, how do you figure out what the mix is? Is it all dependent on the client and what their preferences are, or what's most effective, or how does all that work?
It's a little of both. Our clients trust us to be the experts, right?
Mm,
And I believe in diversifying their marketing strategy as much as possible within their budget. Now, if
mhm,
they have a small budget, then we're going to start in one place, and we're going to start in the place that I feel like will be the most bang for their buck. But if a client has a decent budget and they know they need to invest in their marketing, then I'm going to usually, put them, because it's all about the content, right? And so there are multiple ways you can get that content out there. Having an email list and, consistent email marketing is so important for a business.
mhm,
And we still believe in email marketing, and owning that list is crucial because it's so much harder and more expensive to, get in front of your ideal target online anymore.
mhm,
So having that email list is crucial, and continuing to tell your story and continuing to, tell, uh, help your clients is
right,
crucial. So I believe in diversifying the strategy and the marketing channels as much as possible, and seeing which ones work and which ones don't. If they don't work, then we'll shut it down.
mhm,
But yeah, I usually, our clients are in at least two or three channels, if not, the lower end on the 1 million to $5 million range are usually in two or three channels. The up higher end, the $50 million range, are we're doing offline and online, right? We're doing PR, we're doing advertising, we're doing online advertising, offline advertising, we're doing trade shows, we're doing articles, you name it.
mhm.
Um, Kind of doing it all.
So on the low end, the 1 million to 5 million range there that you mentioned, what is a reasonable budget to work two or three channels?
Two or three channels. I would say, you need to, so like a monthly or a yearly? What do you want?
Monthly, monthly.
Monthly? I would say, if you're at 5 million, I would say, 1,500 to 2,000, should be your baseline. If you're at 1 million, I would say 1,000 should be your baseline. I would say, definitely need to be investing as much as you can into your marketing, especially if you are starting up.
Hmm. Yep, that's good stuff.
But
Those
see,
are,
that's how we try to be, we try to be reasonable for our clients. A lot of agencies around here, you can't get into the door for under 5,000,
right,
so
right.
um, we try to be reasonable, and we try to help them develop a site that tells everything that it needs to tell, does everything they want it to do, but it doesn't cost them, outrageous amounts of money to
Right,
build their site.
right. So gosh, I had a question on the tip of my tongue and I didn't write it down and now it's escaped me. Um, yeah, you are, that is a reasonable, oh, I know what I was going to ask. As far as an agreement, is there like a term, like a specified term for an engagement with you, or is it month to month, or how does that work?
So far, we have been able to, one of our value offerings is we pretty much go month to month with our clients. Now, we will try to do a handshake, you need to give this 3 to 6 months. You will
Hmm.
not see results in 1 month. So generally speaking, 3 to 6 months is where we, land with our clients.
Hmm. Very good.
But because they're not, I mean, marketing is for the future,
Mhm.
there are some things you can do to get some quick wins, but for the most part, you're looking at, 3 to 6 months down the road for
Right.
SEO and ads and all kinds of things. So that's kind of what we do. But our clients, I mean, we've had clients who've been with us for, the entire 6 years, and we've never really, solidified it with a long-term contract. It's always been month to month.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That
Yeah,
in and of itself, you talked about the bigger firms, the bigger agencies. Isn't it typical for them to lock you down into an agreement for like a year or so?
exactly, exactly. I have so many customers that were just burned by that,
Hmm.
incredibly burned, and they never want that to happen again.
Yeah.
And so we try to earn their trust by saying, "Hey, we're not going to lock
Mm.
you in.
Right. And you
You
know
don't
what?
like us, go away."
Right. Well, any marketing firm like yourself that I've talked to says the same thing, about how many people have actually been burned by,
Mhm.
buying into something long term that, and 6 months in, they realize this isn't working and they're not providing me the service and I can't get out of it, and I'm like,
Yep,
that kind of leaves a bad taste in the mouth, but it's good for firms like yourself, to kind of pick up the pieces and provide something of value that is reasonable.
exactly.
And smaller businesses can appreciate that kind of service and integrity.
They seem
Um,
to, yeah.
what's the most valuable lesson you've learned in this exercise of you opening your business now for the second time, I guess?
Um, so let's see. The most valuable lesson that I have learned is, I think, going back to what we talked about earlier, just making sure that I am always working on my business. That I'm focused on, that I have a diversified focus. So I'm not just, because my number one focus, if I let it be, is on my clients, making my clients happy. That is what makes me happy, is when my clients see results and are happy with our work. And so I can get kind of tunnel vision there. And so diversifying my responsibilities and my day-to-day tasks to make sure that I'm making those relationships, nurturing the relationships, doing my own social media, doing our, ABH Connect social media, getting on LinkedIn, going to those networking events, all the things it takes to keep your business growing. And of course, the number one thing is make sure your clients are happy,
Mhm.
because that just leads to referrals, right? And and then making sure my contractors are happy and getting enough, work and that kind of thing. So that's kind of my biggest lesson, is to not get tunnel vision, but to just make sure that I'm kind of thinking about all the pieces. And I am creative. I love being creative. And but I know that, I'm the CEO of the business, and I can't get bogged down in the creative side or the details as often as I'd like to. I still love to create content, and I still love to, you know, create a brand, a vision for a brand and video shoots and that kind of stuff. But I know that, there are people out there that do that a lot better than I do. And that's what they need to be doing. And I need to be focused on, the business as a whole.
Mhm. Have you ever read the book, The E-Myth?
I have not read that one. I have it, and it's on my list.
Okay. Well, I was going to say a simple book, but it's pretty, I would say it's a very practical book. It speaks about, this a lady who's, bakes cakes or whatever, right? And she's pretty good at baking cakes. So she should decides to go into business. And it's not long before she realizes, hey, I'm the baker, but I also have to be, I'm the technician. I also have to be the manager of myself, manager of and then I have to wear this hat of being the owner. And if you don't consciously realize, that you're actually changing hats, and you're playing a different role, it can be hard. And having somebody help you see that can help a lot. And it sounds like your husband helps a lot with that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He
And
keeps me on track. He gets in my face when I start doing that tunnel vision thing, and
yeah,
reminds me of the bigger picture.
right, right, right. And and being a business owner, like just like you described, people get into the business because they like it. It
Mhm.
gets their adrenaline going, being the creative person, like you were just saying. But then there comes a time to either grow into ownership or, stay in the creative piece. And to do both of them, you really gotta, like I said, know when to change hats.
Yeah.
And it can be a challenge, but that's good stuff. What's the biggest challenge let me ask you this question. What's the biggest challenge in today's digital marketing world? And I would, technology changes almost daily, and you've got the onset of, AI now offering services. I don't know if it's crept into your space or not, but what do you think the biggest challenge from your perspective is in the digital marketing world?
Um, Absolutely, without a doubt, AI and the changes that are happening right now in marketing.
Mhm.
There's so much unknown right now about SEO, the future of SEO, for example, and how all of this massive amounts of content are changing SEO strategies, and changing the way, yeah, AI is changing everything. And so that is going to be a huge challenge. It's like when I first started working in the music industry 20 years ago, we were going through a revolution, right, in the music industry to digital from, CDs. And so I had that there was some resistance to that change. And AI, I'm not scared of it at all. I'm excited about it. I mean, the bigger picture, I'm kind of scared of.
Mhm.
But for most part, and for marketing, I'm so excited. Like, we can produce more content than ever for our clients. And so just an example, 2 years ago, I didn't know that I was using AI. I mean, it was here, but I didn't really know I was using it. And now I use it almost constantly. and it's ingrained in every technology that we use.
Mhm.
So I am excited about it. It is going to be interesting. I think marketing is going to be one of the most affected industries. I think a lot of agencies won't be able to handle it because they're so hyper focused on what they do, and they're not going to be able to pivot. But we are always ready to do whatever it takes to get our clients results. And so, we're excited about it.
Mm, mm. Where do you see your business in 5 years?
So, of course, I want to continue to grow and scale it. And I'd like to have an advisory board. That's kind of one of the goals that I have. I have so many people in my community that are just brilliantly smart, and I really need to kind of create a process for that, formalize that. And then I also just want to be more um, systematized and continue to, really solidify those processes so that we can scale our business and continue to grow over the next 5 years. I mean, I don't really have any um, hard numbers or goals, but I just want to keep growing, at a reasonable pace,
Hmm.
but also keep a the lifestyle that I want. So,
Right, right, exactly. Outstanding. What's the, what do you think the biggest hurdle is for you? What would inhibit that intention for growth for you?
so I think that, I've got to stay focused on continuing to make those relationships with the amazing contractors and freelancers in this area.
Mhm.
I you know that when we get more business, we got to have the people that can help us make it happen. I cannot do it, I cannot continue to do it all. So that is a hurdle for me. It's I'm going to have to, eventually, I think, give up even more responsibilities so that we can scale and grow. So
Mhm.
um, I can't really think of any kind of external hurdles at the moment. I think, there's a billion marketing agencies and a billion people that are calling themselves a marketing agency. And so we just got to keep getting out there and telling our story and showing people we have 25 years of experience. We didn't just start this yesterday. This company has been around for 6 years, and we've helped hundreds of businesses. So, we've got to keep setting up, telling the story and reminding people of how we're different, how we're unique, and how we can help them specifically.
Right, awesome. So one last question, um, Carrie. Let me ask you, is there, I always like asking this question. Is there a book that you read maybe a long time ago, or is there some speaker or someone that you've heard that whose words or inspiration that you rely on or go back to time and time again? Or maybe is there a more recent book that you've read that has provided you some inspiration or insight?
So that is a great question. I love to read.
Mm.
And probably 15 years ago, when I was transitioning in my career, Brene Brown was coming onto the scene. And of course, she did that famous TED Talk, and then just started writing some amazing books. And The Gift of Imperfection changed my life because that was something that I struggled with tremendously. And, it kept me kind of paralyzed in my career. It um, you know, um, kept me from doing the things that I knew I could really do because I struggled with perfectionism. And so Brene Brown has massively influenced me. And I'm so thankful that she was there around the time and speaking this, speaking about this around the time I was, transitioning in my career. And then I recently read a book by Jen Sincero called You Are a Badass. And I love that book. I recommend it to everybody, and especially women, I think. Sometimes we need a little bit of extra confidence boost, that we can do whatever we want to do. We have unlimited potential, and it is just such an empowering book. I highly, highly recommend it.
Wow. Okay. So,
Sorry,
I
I hope
mean,
it was okay for me to say that word on your podcast.
well, we're on the internet, so I don't think there's any ratings whatsoever. Today's kids have heard and seen a
That
lot.
is the truth. Yes.
So those are two interesting books. I haven't heard of the second one. Of course, I've heard of Brene Brown. I lied to you, Kari. I said that was the last question, but I'm really interested. And because, when you talk to people who have the entrepreneurial spirit, it's almost as if it's something in their DNA, or in your case, I think it's somewhat learned, that failure is just part of it.
Mhm,
This doesn't work. Okay, well, that doesn't work. Well, I'm gonna go try this. Well, that doesn't work. Well, let's, if I take this and tweak this and change this. And you know what? It's like there's just this spirit of the trying is what's fun to people, to the people who I think are, have the true entrepreneurial spirit. But
mhm,
and I have that kind of perfectionist type of, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to turn it in. I'm not going to be until it's right. And that
mhm,
hampers me, I think.
mhm,
But I think it's a learned mindset that
mhm.
you can adopt. And it sounds like you were able to teach yourself or expose yourself to, Brene's thinking, and allow it to kind of open up your life for you and pursue something that maybe you wouldn't have without having that kind of insight. Is that right?
That's a great point. I didn't even make that connection. But I think that, giving me permission to be imperfect was what I needed at that time in my life. And I still need it today. I'm an overthinker, and so I'm a recovering overthinker, a recovering perfectionist. And I think what you said, the best way to overcome that is just to, practice a different way. Practice a
Hmm.
different way. I am a strong believer in emotional intelligence. And so I'm always working on that. And kind of my husband will tell you, I'm always working on myself, trying to make myself, more emotionally intelligent so that I can be a better a business owner and mom
Hmm.
and all the things.
Right. Fantastic. Well, Carrie, it's been great having you as a guest on the show here today. And man, it's been awesome to hear your journey and hear about your business and what you guys have or what you have planned for it. I wish you the best of luck, and thanks again for being a guest.
Thank you, Craig. I really enjoyed our conversation.
I did too.